This is the Horse Radio Network.
Ever wonder why breeches never fit the same? This week, we're talking to an equestrian fashion designer and body positivity advocate on why horses are great for everybody, no matter your waist size. And would you ever list your farm on Airbnb? Thanks for tuning in. From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour. I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 76 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
How's it going, everybody?
How's it going?
It's going.
It's going.
That's all we can expect from 2020.
Right.
Exactly. Just keep going.
Keep going. We got another couple busy weeks in front of us, but all well.
So this episode is brought to you by EcoGold. A few weeks ago, we reviewed the new EcoGold Flip Half Pad Mat. It's a new vegan pad by EcoGold, but it comes with all of the same features that we love about the Flip Half Pad. What's super cool about it is this new classic look with a matte finish. So it doesn't have that traditional glossy finish that you're used to from the Flip Half Pad. It has this really just beautiful matte color, and they come in a really superb color line. I have the Havana one, and it just matches so perfectly with my dark brown, more mocha colored saddle. And I get compliments on this pad everywhere I go. Plus, it's reversible, so you're really getting two pads for the price of one. If you want to check out the new matte pad, you can do that by going to ecogold.ca.
So, guys, I have a very Ellie drink tonight.
Let's hear about it.
So it's a variation on Sex on the Beach. It's Sex in the Driveway.
This does sound like an Ellie drink.
That's an Ellie drink.
Well, when I read you the ingredients, then you'll understand. So it's 1 ounce of peach schnapps, 1 ounce blue curacao, 2 ounces vodka or white rum, and then Sprite. And it's basically replaces the cranberry juice in a Sex on the Beach with blue curacao so that you get your drink that's bluer and more orangey in flavor.
This sounds great, actually, and it sounds a lot better than, what is it, your like alfalfa mush drink that's like garbage green in color?
What did Matt call it? Septic tank water or something?
Yeah, this is an improvement. I'll take it.
But if I make it, it's probably still going to look green mush for some reason. I'm not a good measurer of anything liquid. So
you're so funny. All right, Jess, what do you have for news this week?
I've got a great little article I found, and it's kind of like some heartwarming news. Bob Clements is 86 years old, and he just earned his U.S. dressage bronze medal. And he kind of, long story short, got into the horses. Once his kids kind of left for college, he decided he needed to do stuff. So he was originally like a dentist, and then he decided after the kids left, he was going to be a vet tech, and then they had cows and everything. And basically after he retired, he did things like becoming the vet tech. And then he decided that he needed to get into horses. So then he worked with his trainer in Virginia, and they started showing. And at one point, he and his horse, his first little horse that he competed, his ages totaled more than 100 years, and it made them eligible to become members of the Dressage Foundation Century Club. And that's where he just started showing, and he did his first level, and long story short, decided he needed bigger horses, got more horses, got another horse after he did it. And now he got his bronze medal.
That is so cool. I love that story.
It was fun. So he went through a series of different horses, but ended up getting his bronze medal. And, it means you're never, too old to accomplish anything. So always be able to do whatever your dreams are able to.
Oh, what about you, Ellie?
Super cute.
He's super cute.
I have news about Airbnbs. So I don't know if you guys have ever thought about it. I hadn't until I'd seen this article, but like having an Airbnb at your farm. The article talks about a few different riders and professionals that have like various kind of interactive Airbnb experiences where like the horses will come up and greet them, and they have chickens, Justine, and pigs and all these various things. And I got to thinking about if I did this in Gillett, which wouldn't happen because I don't think anybody would want to come to Gillett. But I'm like, they talked about having cabins, like, or so they're like not in the main house. And my house is really long. And I was like, oh, well, I could keep them on one side of the house. And then I realized that the cats would probably terrorize everyone. But maybe that could be an interactive Airbnb experience.
Maybe they want the cats.
Cat trolls. Maybe they'll take the cats.
So yeah, we love Airbnb, and we stay in Airbnbs all the time. And I found this really, really cute Airbnb, less than 5 minutes from our farm in North Carolina. So we actually just got back from there, and it's this cute farm, same thing. It doesn't have a lot of like livestock and like animals and stuff. They have a little bit, but not interactive ones. But they said they've gotten so much interest. They're building an additional kind of little like studio apartment. And it's great for us because we just go and like check on the farm. It's 2 miles from our driveway. So it's like great. We go like pop in, it's a studio apartment, and they have all these different ones. And so we kind of checked it out for when owners, friends, family come to stay, like could they stay there? And it's lovely. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's on a farm, and you wouldn't think you'd have that much interest, because I was actually surprised they had that much. So you never know, Ellie. Maybe there's a ton of interest up there. People want to come.
Yeah, but if you met the people that live around my area,
maybe not.
Oh my gosh. I've seen quite a few like out in the boonies too, like by horse shows. When
people
your
are like
options
wanting to get away.
Yeah, when your options are like, just a motel on the side of the highway, because you're out in the middle of nowhere for a horse show. We've stayed at quite a few, actually. And there's one that we try to stay at every time I go to this specific horse show. It's so cute. It's right on it's a paint breeding farm. And they have a giant, beautiful barn. And they probably have at least 30 horses on the property. And then they have this little cottage like on the edge of the property. And it's adorable. It's the nicest little place to stay. And they let people come and bring their horses too. Like if they're like right off a big preserve to go trail riding. So you could come and like ship in and leave your horse in the barn and rent the cottage and like go trail ride on their property, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. I don't know if if you have people who come to your area, Ellie, for that, because the photos you've been posting of your trail rides lately are just beautiful.
Yeah, but technically that's not my property. Mm-hmm. at least most of the wood area. I mean, it's nice when everybody around you owns like over 100 acres, because nobody really goes out on the corner of their 100 acres. So if you cross over here and there, it's okay.
Oh my gosh. All right.
So what about you, Justine?
I have a nice heartwarming story too. I'm going to butcher Juan's name, so I'm going to apologize now. But Juan Matei, and I think you pronounce his last name Guillamon. He's Spanish. He's 22 years old. He's a dressage rider. We've talked to him many times at Heels Down. He's been quoted in many articles. He's just a delight to talk to. He's just an outstanding young dressage rider. Well, only 5 months ago, he underwent a life-saving operation where they had to repair a genetic brain disorder. And he is competing this week, the Spanish Championships in Madrid. And this is the first time he's back competing on the back of a horse after having brain surgery, which is just really amazing. I know. He is so inspirational. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you really should. And so he's so cute. In this interview with dressagenews.com, he's talking about how he's slightly nervous, but he's really excited to be back in the saddle and can't wait to get back into the competition ring. So he's riding a horse, Quantico, that he's ridden before. And yeah, I mean, he had brain surgery. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
I know but I think he was having he collapsed, and they, then his family realized that he was having some problems, and luckily he had great care and has made nearly a full recovery already, and that he's back in the saddle. So
That's amazing.
It really is. So we definitely wish him well, and I can't wait to see video of him back in the show ring.
Shout out to everyone who has donated to our Patreon. We really appreciate everybody who's continued to support us and continue to support the show. We love bringing you stories that are heartwarming during this crazy year. If you are interested in donating or contributing to our podcast, check out patreon.com/heelsdown. That's PATREON.com.
So, guys, I wanted to talk to you about a new equestrian subscription box I just checked out. I'm not sure if you saw on the Heels Down Mag Instagram account, but I unboxed it for the first time just not too long ago. It's Groom Tote is the name of the company, and they put out quarterly subscription boxes. So I got to check out the fall box, which was, when it arrived, I was just blown away, one, by how much stuff is in it. And what makes the Groom Tote really stand out to me, at least, is the boxes are completely customizable. So it's not just like you get a set list and everybody gets the same stuff in their box. You get to pick what you want. So there's a list of goodies of everything that can come in your box, and you can pick the items that, you are most interested in, which I think is just super cool. The other thing that I was really into about the Groom Tote fall box was everything is a full-size product. Sometimes with subscription boxes, they try to give you as much stuff as they can in a box, and so a lot of it is sample sizes or, not full-size products for that reason, just for space. But Groom Tote, everything is a full size. Like, I got 2 different types of supplements in the fall box, and they came in full size bags and full size jugs. It's
That's
kind of
amazing.
unbelievable. Yeah. So the bang for your buck is pretty great. So I know Groom Tote is now curating their winter box. So probably their last box of the year, and you can sign up and get your box now if you go to groomtote.com. That's GROOMTOTE. And it's just a really wonderful box. I know there are a lot out there, in the market when it comes to like finding cool subscription services. I feel like that's a really trendy thing right now, but I was just super impressed by Groom Tote. I got tons of horse products, from like a halter and polo wraps to fly sprays and different other grooming products. But also it came with stuff for me too. Like, I got a scrunchie and a gator mask to wear. I also got soap and jewelry from a local jewelry maker. So like I got a bath bomb too, and lip balm from local companies. And
wow.
You could just tell it that, the owners take a lot of care in curating products that they've like tested and tried themselves, so they know, you know what I mean? Like, you could just tell these are handpicked products that from companies they care about. I was super impressed, and really a bang for your buck. Like, one box, if you wanted to get a quarterly membership, your first box is $99. So for $99, you get all this stuff. And then you can also buy an annual membership, which will probably get you all the boxes through the year. And that's for $396. And you can actually save a little bit with a coupon from us. You can save 10% by using the coupon code HEELSDOWN, all one word in lowercase, when you order your first box. They also do a something, this is really cute. It's called a unicorn box, and it's for little riders, for kids.
It's so cute. It
is really, really cute. So if you have a daughter or a friend with kids, it's a great little surprise for kids who love horses too.
Coming up on the holidays too.
Exactly, right? This is a perfect time to try it out. So if you want to check out Groom Tote for yourself, again, the website is groomtote.com. All right, everybody, I'm really excited to introduce our guest tonight, Leah Wellard. You may know her from her Instagram account, Big Booty Breeches. She started her account a year ago, where she explores the complicated relationship between equestrians have with their bodies. Right now, she splits her time between being an equine nutritionist and promoting body acceptance in our sport. So, hi, Leah. Welcome.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. So, Leah, I'm a big fan of your account. I think you're doing something really special that you don't really see a ton in our sport. So my first question for you is, what made you want to be outspoken about body image and body positivity as it relates to our sport?
So I started this account because I felt like there was a serious lack of body love in our sport. I really personally struggled a lot with my own body image, especially as it pertains to riding. Until about a year and a half ago, when I started stumbling across accounts on Instagram like the Birds Papaya and Shanae Alexander, where they really promote self-love and self-acceptance. And it was just this really revolutionary moment for me. And it kind of snowballed from there. And I started this account as I was learning to accept my own body. And I learned that the confidence I desperately wish I had didn't come from just fitting into smaller clothes, but with accepting the body I already had. And I really wanted to recreate that feeling for my fellow equestrians.
Do you feel like there are safe outlets for equestrians who maybe don't fit the mold that we see in, the catalogs and stuff like that? I mean, you definitely seem to foster that on Instagram, but where do you think people who feel like they don't fit the mold can find some sense of community and support?
Yeah, if we're just looking at the surface, there doesn't really seem to be many safe outlets for equestrians who don't fit that mold. But I knew there had to be more riders like me that didn't fit that mold. And, when we're looking at equestrian clothing brands in particular, it's slim pickings for riders with bigger bodies. This really creates this idea of exclusivity, in my opinion. And, this is truly a sport where your equipment matters. We need breeches and tall boots to ride. So I find it really unfortunate that we see such limited size ranges being produced, which is hopefully something that will change soon. But yeah, that's pretty much really one of the reasons I started this account. I really wanted to foster a community where equestrians were told that they can love their bodies and be good partners for their horses, and that those two things weren't mutually exclusive.
I love that.
What kind of advice do you have for people who may have a passion for horses but aren't sure because they don't necessarily see how they fit in, see people who like they are in the sport?
Yeah, so my advice would be to remember that riding is for everyone, including you. We get to decide where we begin our equestrian journeys, so take your time to find the barn and trainer that feels inclusive and safe to you. Really, everybody is welcome in this sport. And I always like to say that every body is a breeches body.
So I have kind of like a more personal question. I had a trainer one time tell me that I would be more successful if I lost 20 pounds. I think he was, I don't think he was trying to be rude about it, but do you think it's fair for a trainer to ask a student to lose weight?
And that could be coming from a kind place, but quite simply, I don't think that the conversation of body weight is a topic to be discussed between a student and a trainer, but more to be discussed with the person's doctor or dietitian. It's not really a trainer's place to have that discussion. There are a lot more factors that go into body weight than just, overeating, as we typically stigmatize it as. And more often than not, these body weight conversations held between trainers and students are more body shaming than they are productive. Yeah. Is that what you were finding too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it boils down to the fact that there's this idea that body weight corresponds to physical fitness, and that really isn't true. You can be physically fit and fat at the same time, and you can be really thin and out of shape.
That's a good
So
point.
It's an interesting dichotomy there.
Well, Leah, it was super fabulous to have you on the show. And again, if you want to follow what Leah is doing on Instagram, you can find her account by going to Big Booty Breeches. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
If you love the Soap for Dirty Equestrians line, then you're really going to love the newest product from Heels Down Mag. We now sell lip balm, and it is awesome. It feels wonderful on your lips. They're all natural, vegan, and cruelty-free products. The scents are amazing, and they have the same snarky, silly, fun names and comments on them, just like you love the Soap from Dirty Equestrians. You can find all of our line of lip balm by going to shop.heelsdownmag.com. And if I had to give you one suggestion of my favorite lip balm that we have, it's definitely Unicorn Smooches. So give it a try.
Oh my gosh. No way.
All right, so our next guest, I am super, super excited to tell you about. Caitlin Woodburn. She is the owner and founder of Street and Saddle, and she is a proud and passionate horse girl, just like the rest of us. And if you're not familiar with Street and Saddle, it's an equestrian clothing retailer based in Vancouver. And Caitlin takes her fashion design experience and combines it with her love for horses to bring together this really carefully curated, lighthearted take on different eras of riding apparel. And I'm just always constantly amazed by all of the new styles she comes up with. So, hi, Caitlin. It's so great to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And also, spoiler alert, Caitlin used to work for us at Heels Down Mag, so it's really great to have her back. You might recognize her name from some of the articles she's written for us in the past. So,
yes, it is definitely amazing to be back.
So, Caitlin, my first question for you, I want to talk about Street and Saddle. You know, you're one of the only equestrian brands that I know of that I can think of off the top of my head that offers a really wide range of models on your website. Like, it's very clear that you go out of your way to incorporate all different types of people in different bodies. Why are you committed to this?
Well, I think it's, as a designer, it's kind of a culmination of all the conversations I've had with friends and family and also customers. I feel really lucky to be trusted with so many people's stories about their body image and their struggle to find clothing that fits. But it's honestly quite harrowing, like how serious and pervasive negative body image has and how kind of casual it is as well. Like from my experience, I would almost say that it's more common for women to have a negative body image than a positive body image. And I think it kind of like it comes by rightly where, you know, the average size an American woman is a size 16 to 18. But that same woman, most clothing stores she'd walk into, there wouldn't even be any clothing in her size. So it's kind of very exclusionary, and it's really unfair on women that that there's kind of clothing is made mostly for sizes kind of 00 to 10, and then any sizes above that are kind of largely ignored, or clothing isn't designed very well for those sizes. And it just never really made sense to me because that's actually kind of a more average. I mean, we say plus size, but plus size is kind of average size. So, yeah.
I mean, we definitely see that too with among a lot of our readers and listeners, the frustration of just vastly different sizing, specifically in riding clothes, depending on the brand, especially. It seems like it's like an endless struggle for them to find like breeches that fit right. Do you have any insight you could share?
Yeah, well, I think especially now with so much online shopping I would say it's definitely a very common struggle for sure. And if you are having trouble finding breeches that fit, definitely take advantage of a brand's customer service. Like you have every right to kind of email them and say like, these are my measurements. I don't know what size I am. You know, I don't see my body type on your website or on your social media. So it's hard for me to know what's going to fit. And you should really have someone who can like walk you through that and measurements and different fits of different styles. And I would say too, like social media is great for following like on Instagram riders who are a similar size and body type to you and just kind of asking like, love your breeches. Where did you get them? Do you mind if I ask you about the sizes? Oftentimes that's a really good way to get information.
Ooh, I like that tip.
Yeah.
And what kind of advice do you have for riders who may not maybe fit the mold and look like the girls they often see in catalogs, but are still passionate about their horses?
I would definitely say, like, on behalf of, if we're talking about clothing, on behalf of the fashion industry, I'm really sorry. It's not you or your body. It's brands not putting the work in to represent you and to make clothing for you. You know, you have every right to kind of feel excluded and angry. I will say that change is definitely coming. I think this is an issue that a lot of brands are paying much more attention to now, but the change is just happening kind of it's long overdue and it's very slow.
Well, Caitlin, so I know you went to you went to school to study fashion design. So can you tell me, you have a very mainstream like fashion experience, and can you just tell me how from the back end, as a designer behind the scenes, how that works? You bring up a really good point. I'm someone who's like on the verge of like, I can fit at the high end of the standard sizes you see more commonly, on like if I go online and I'm looking for breeches, I can usually find my size, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm like just over the tipping point, and that can be frustrating sometimes because I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to buy something that fits. Do you have any insight on just how, why they create that sizing guide? What goes into the thinking? Is it all just come down to sales essentially, or?
Yeah, well, from a design perspective, usually brands have what they call a fit model, who's generally it's a person who's they're usually a size around 0 to 4. So they kind of come up with the design, they make like the pattern or the blueprint for it, they make up a sample for this person to try on, and then they kind of work from there kind of for changes they do. But the problem is because they're using someone from kind of the bottom of the size range, oftentimes as you change the sizes, as you go up the sizes, you need to be making adjustments for different proportions. Humans don't uniformly kind of get bigger and smaller. You need to make more samples, try them on more sizes to kind of get the fit right. And I think for a lot of brands, from what I've seen, it's just easier for them to just do size 0 to 10 or 12 and then just kind of leave it at that, because it's viewed as kind of too complicated to, just fit to different body types above that. And so it's kind of, it does really suck. And I would say it's kind of laziness and not putting the work in, and it kind of leads to this vicious cycle of women who are above a size 12 being really disenfranchised with just shopping, because oftentimes, if their sizes are there, they're not well kind of designed and proportioned for them. And then the fashion industry sort of turns around and goes, well, plus size women don't like to shop as much. They don't spend as much money. And it's like, well, of course they don't, because the clothing's not, well made and well marketed for them, and their body type isn't represented.
Oh, that's a good point. That's really interesting, though. I never would have guessed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. And if any of our listeners want to go to Street and Saddle, can you tell us the website?
Yes, it is www.streetandsaddle.com.
All right. It's time for Rose and Thorn. Who wants to go first?
That many people. That many.
Right. I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, I need a minute.
My thorn is that I just realized I've been wearing this shirt all day inside out. I just realized it during our interview with Caitlin. I'm like, wait a minute, the shirt is inside out. All day, guys. Literally all day. That is the point where we are at in this year that it doesn't matter.
Right. It's like over it.
Yeah. So that's my thorn, I guess. And my rose. My rose is that my brother is getting married next month, and I'm very happy for him. But it's a complicated rose because they're having a wedding, and it's
usually that's what happens.
Right. But in coronavirus times, it's a little weird, so I want my brother to have the full experience, and I feel bad, but they really want to get married, and I'm really happy for them, and it's going to be beautiful no matter what. But, there's just extra complications because they're having it during a pandemic, but it's outside and it's going to be beautiful, and I'm happy for them.
And honestly, a lot of people are wanting to keep their dates. So it's making it small and
right.
I don't
exactly.
know, I'm a little bit for the small weddings and the big parties. I mean, that is what we did. But I think that a lot of people like that. So they your really close friends and your really close family that want to be there for the celebration, or so the ceremony and everything, get to celebrate with you. So I think
That's
it's
true.
good though.
It's a different type of special,
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it. So I'm happy for him. His fiance is adorable, so they're just so cute together. So I'm looking
Perfect.
forward to that. All right, who wants to go next?
I
I can go next. Either
Oh,
way.
no, you
now
go, Jess.
everybody's gonna go. So my roses, I get to go to a show again this week. We've been busy showing. Now it's been a little different with COVID and everything else, but it's still really good. So we're going to another show, but it's local, and a bunch of my friends just got in town and stuff. So I get to show and do all
Yay.
that and hang out. Yeah. So like it's fun because I know you can't really hang out with your friends and stuff, but they can come to dinner, and we've been like sitting outside. It's beautiful weather. So like we can sit outside and like kind of hang out and do the social distance thing, but get to still see everybody, which is nice. So I'm really, really excited that a couple of my friends are in town and I get to see them that I haven't seen in a bit. So I'm really excited about that. So that's definitely my rose. And my thorn is good and bad. Good is we're getting close to moving to North Carolina. And I think we finally have like a contract on the place here in Aiken. So it's going to be sold, hopefully. Like it's got a contract,
Wow.
but that means we are moving. And so that is my thorn, is we have to move, which is a great thorn, but just my thorn is the actual packing part of it.
Oh yeah, it's a nightmare.
Like it's a lot. So I probably should have been doing it from like COVID on, but I've just been procrastinating really badly. And I'm like, it won't be long. And I'm pretty sure it won't take us long because it's going to be like 48 hours of like horribleness. But I'm still excited that we're moving, but the thought of moving kind of is punishing.
I hear you. Ugh.
Not bad though.
What about you, Ellie?
My thorn is I'm still not married. No, I'm just kidding. TikTok, Matthew. You're listening to this? No. So my thorn is that Matt had an encounter with somebody who was positive in the office for COVID, and we had to like quarantine ourselves from each other as well as like from work so we could get tested. I'm very thankful that both of us have not caught the virus and that we were safe, especially with my autoimmune disease. But it was a thorn because it was really weird to like socially distance in your own home, which I give people a lot of credit if they can do that. I also think it was a thorn because I had to sleep with the cats and they're trolls.
And they're trolls.
They are total trolls. They just like one of them will just bite my hairline in the middle of the night and it's scary. Anyway, I do love my cats. But my rose is that I have a clinic coming up this weekend. It's Rain Cow Horse Clinic. And I'm taking 2 of my horses. And I get to go now because I've been cleared from the COVID test. So I'm excited about that. And my mom's coming. So it's even better because I will get a groom.
Nice. All right. So we got a mailbag from Julie who sent us an email, and she is looking for a little bit of advice. I'm going to read this to you guys, and hopefully you could share some insight for Julie. So she recently had a bad fall off of her trainer's green thoroughbred. She was working and training this horse for the past 2 years, but before she fell, she was considering buying him, and now she's too afraid to ride him. I guess he bolted and she was half on him, and now she just doesn't trust him anymore. And she wants to know, is it bad to throw away the bond with him? She's hit the dirt a few times because of this horse, and she just wants advice on, should she try to ride him again and get over that fear? Or is it okay to say, hey, this isn't the horse for me before she gets seriously injured? Jess, do you have any advice?
I think it's kind of hard because yes, you got to bond with the horse and it's great. And maybe it is the perfect horse and maybe it was just something random. I think it's very hard to say, okay, yes, give it up, but maybe it isn't the right horse. So I hate to say there's no right answer. I think it's whatever you feel in your gut, honestly, is the biggest thing. Because if you think it's going to be something that maybe happens again and you're not the rider that can maybe want to deal with that or don't have the time to deal with it or whatever the reason is, maybe it's just something you can move on from, then I would move on. But if it's something that you're like, okay, look, it just happened. We've had horses that, you know, the kid did something dumb, like the horse is a little flighty and she removed the jacket and then the horse bolted and bucked her off. And I'm like, okay, look, that was something that, yes, you're a strong rider. It didn't hurt her confidence. You need to get back on and let's just not remove the jacket as fast and like throw it off of him and spook him. Then that's one to get back on and redo it. But I think it's all rider based. And I hate to say that, but if it's something that was maybe a freak accident that you can kind of move past and maybe not make the same mistake twice, then I would maybe get on. But if it's something you didn't see coming and nothing happened and you're trying to like move on and get the confidence, I hate to say maybe it isn't the right horse. I mean, I know I'm like wishy-washy in my statement, but it's so rider horse based and situation. What do you guys kind of feel? And that's just me as a trainer. So I'm not sure if that's just what I feel.
What do you think,
Ellie?
Yeah, well, so this was a difficult one for me because I had a very similar situation with Berkeley. When I first bought him, like out of the blue, just like bolted and threw me off really bad. Like I ended up breaking like 2 of my ribs and my tailbone. And it was like super scary for me. I was in high school, but like I was afraid to like canter him more than like elope for like a long time. And my mom was like, let's just sell him, you know, it's not worth it or whatever. And I was like, maybe that's the right thing to do. But I mean, in the end, I ended up sticking with him. And I mean, like I couldn't ask for a better horse. You know, he was young at the time. He was 4, just turned 4, and he was only under saddle like 9 months. And he just wasn't, you know, his brain wasn't completely in his body yet. And I mean, that's still his MO, but I know now to expect him to bolt in situations that might, you know, cause that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think safety is a huge thing. You know, so I wouldn't be afraid to talk to, you know, your trainer about your concerns with him and just about your, you know, your safety concerns, because, you know, it's clear that you have a bond with this horse and you love this horse, but I mean, safety should be a huge thing.
I'm with you. I mean, the older I get, the more important safety is, right? You know, and so that's what this makes me think of is as an adult amateur in my 30s, the last thing I want to be is overhorsed. You know, I do not need something powerful or that has the talent to go jump, you know, a meter 45, because I'm never going to do that. So, and I'm not going to lie, I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of amateurs who go the off-track route and buy horses that are just too much horse for them. And they realize it eventually, you know, either sooner rather than later. And I own an off-track horse and I love him. So, I think it depends on where you are in your riding career and what you want out of this horse. What do you want to do with it? And then make that decision. Because when I was younger, when I was like 19, I would ride a horse like you're describing, Julie, all day long. And the fact that he threw me off would just like embolden me more to ride him, you know? But now that I'm going to be 33, nah, I don't want to fall off, you know? I don't want to. So I think it really depends on you and what you want out of your relationship with this horse. And I feel like you need to be really honest with your trainer about it, because your trainer can't help you make the right decision for you if you're not honest. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I think the biggest thing is just to have a conversation, you know, and talk to lots of people, get lots of opinions.
Exactly. And you know in your gut, like, are you afraid now just because, you know, the fall is still fresh in your mind? Or are you going to still be afraid 6 months from now? I think you got to know yourself too. Because it's not fun if you're getting on a horse that you're afraid of every time you ride either.
Right. Yeah. It takes the whole point of riding out.
Exactly. So if you have a question that you want us to discuss on the show, you can always post it in our Facebook group, which is the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge, or you can send us an email by going to hello@heelsdownmedia.com. And if you want to hear more from us, you should subscribe to the Heels Down Brief. That's our daily email newsletter. You can do that by going to bit.ly/hdbrief. And we want to say thank you to all of our partners this week, EcoGold and Groom Tote. All right, guys, that's a wrap.
Cheers.
Cheers.